I disagree with the easiest reading of this podcast. This is not really a video about dad bods. It's an argument against lifestyle tribalism. The title promises a fight over body physically imposing, testosterone, protein, and meat. What the discussion actually keeps doing is asking a more uncomfortable question. What if most health debates are being settled socially long before they're being settled biologically? The strongest move comes right at the beginning. The conversation treats the so-called dad bod not as a punchline, but as a physiological state connected to physically imposing cells, hormones, aging, sleep, and behavior. That's a much more useful frame than the internet version of the debate. Instead of asking whether a body type is attractive, the episode asks what mechanisms are operating underneath it. And this is where the video quietly becomes more ambitious than its title. Around the culture and aging discussion, the panel keeps returning to a theme that runs through nearly every Bryan Johnson project. Culture tells stories, biology keeps score. You do not have to agree with every implication of that worldview to appreciate how consistently it structures the argument. Then the conversation pivots into bone density, and honestly, this is where the episode becomes genuinely valuable. Bone health is one of the least glamorous subjects in longevity. It gets overshadowed by supplements, fasting, and visible fitness markers. Yet loss of bone density is one of the most consequential aging processes people face. The decision to spend serious time on it feels refreshingly grounded. The most persuasive part of the video is not any single claim. It's the layering. Biomarkers lead to bone density. Bone density leads to weight-bearing exercise. Exercise leads to nutrient requirements. Nutrients lead to recovery and adaptation. The episode keeps connecting systems instead of presenting isolated hacks. That's a sign of intellectual maturity in health communication. Here's the surprising part. The strongest section is also the most controversial. The protein deep dive is compelling precisely because it refuses to treat protein as a sacred object. Popular health culture often speaks as if more protein automatically means more health. This discussion spends time on amino acids, sources, trade-offs, and biological outcomes. Whether viewers ultimately agree with every conclusion, the framing is more sophisticated than the usual gym floor slogan. There is, however, an important assumption running underneath the entire conversation. The episode repeatedly suggests that measurable biological markers are the highest standard of evidence for personal health decisions. That's a powerful idea. It's also a philosophical position. Quality of life, culture, enjoyment, and social context matter too. The podcast doesn't ignore those factors, but it clearly ranks physiology above them. The final chapter on why Bryan Johnson does not eat meat is where many viewers will expect ideological fireworks. Instead, the discussion is surprisingly calm. The point isn't that everyone must copy Bryan Johnson. The point is that dietary choices should be connected to explicit reasoning rather than inherited loyalties. That's a more constructive conversation than the endless online battle between dietary camps. Even the visual presentation reinforces the substance. The keyframes show a restrained studio setup with long-form discussion rather than spectacle. That matters because the argument depends on sustained reasoning. The video is asking viewers to follow chains of causation, not react to dramatic reveals. The format serves the evidence. My verdict is that the episode's conclusion is impressively rigorous within the framework it chooses. It doesn't prove that every protocol discussed is optimal. It does something more useful. It teaches viewers to think in mechanisms, measurements, and long-term outcomes. In a media environment built around shortcuts, that is a meaningful contribution. The real story here isn't dad bods, bone density, or protein myths. It's the attempt to replace health identity with health evidence. That's a far more radical argument than the title lets on. And if future health content keeps moving in that direction, there will be plenty worth challenging, defending, and debating. Subscribe if you want reviews that argue with the obvious interpretation before it hardens into conventional wisdom.